Glenn Gaynor, who is the chairman of the board of the National White Collar Crime Center. And Chairman Gaynor flew in this morning for this special occasion. Chairman Gaynor, I think, is in his 5th term as the auditor, and wanted to bigger and better things, I'm sure. And but I want to say that he's been the chairman since 1999 of our board of directors. And our board of directors, as you probably or may not know, is voted on by our some 2,000 state and local law enforcement agencies nationwide in regions. We have a board member from California, Texas, from Phoenix, Arizona, Virginia, Rhode Island, Indiana, and then Glenn Gaynor has been our chairman for a long time. And I say this with all due respect. When he came on as the chairman of the board, his commitment to the National White Collar Crime Center, but the state and local law enforcement, it's just a similar path that Attorney General Hood has. I mean, they have a great impact in their state, and they're certainly earning their money in their state, but their dedication to state and local law enforcement nationwide is very similar. And Mr. Gaynor has done so much to bring the National White Collar Crime Center forward to where it is today. And I can really believe that we would not be where we are without his leadership. And he didn't get paid for this. None of these board members get paid for it. It's their own time. And when we talked about coming to Mississippi, he just about probably agreed to come down. He wanted to be here for General Hood. And just very, very happy that he took the time out to come down and be with you today. So he does not let me read his bio. I done that once at a meeting, and it's a long one, everywhere and anything, and he told me, don't do that again, Todd. I said, okay, no more reading his bio. But he's got a knife in the boat. So with that, I'll turn it over to Chairman Gaynor.
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Good. I want to thank you for coming out today and being part of this event. You know, it is really my pleasure to be here in Mississippi today. I was sharing with the Attorney General, you know, many times my home state of West Virginia and your beloved state of Mississippi, we get picked on sometimes. So I told your Attorney General we're almost like kindred spirits. And so when I had the opportunity to come down here, I really wanted to be with you today. And I want to thank Don and the entire staff of NW3C for everything they do. You know, bringing events like this to you locally, presenting information to you, giving you the opportunity to network and gain experience is really what the National White Collar Crime Center is all about. It's kind of our core function of providing quality training to state and local law enforcement. All of us working in law enforcement are very fortunate, really, to have the National White Collar Crime Center to be our partner. And that's why, as Don says, I have been involved with this organization for more years than what I care to remember. But also, as we enter into and as we continue to fight economic white-collar cyber crime, you know, we're really fortunate to have competent, dedicated leaders who are willing to step up and fight the fight with us. We have one of those type of leaders with us today in your Attorney General, Jim Hood. The Attorney General refuses to take a passive approach in the fight against intellectual property crime. You know, intellectual property crime is one that doesn't gain a lot of headlines, but it's one that is critical not only to us as consumers, but also to national intelligence and the protection of this country and our fight against terrorism. He is a proactive and important voice for IP rights, not just in Mississippi, but also nationally. Through grant funding, the Attorney General has worked with federal and local officials in creating Operation Knockout, Knock Off, a task force of more than 100 members dedicated to protecting Mississippi citizens from counterfeit goods, counterfeit medicines, and music piracy. The Attorney General is also the co-chair of the National Association of Attorney Generals Intellectual Property Crime Committee, having created a best practices manual for states who wish to follow Mississippi's lead and footsteps in creating their own intellectual property task forces. Beginning last year, the Attorney General and his office offered training to law enforcement agencies, teaching students how to identify and deter IP crime. He worked with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and industry leaders to further the cause of eliminating counterfeit goods and pirated entertainment. The Attorney General also worked with the National White Collar Crime Center last year in training events as well as task force operations. IP crime is complex and a troubling problem, but I am encouraged by knowing that we have principled and committed people like your Attorney General to lead the charge. His many works in the battle against IP crime are a testament to his national leadership, not only in supporting law enforcement, but protecting the health, safety, welfare, and economic well-being of our citizens, the people of Mississippi who he serves. I'm proud to have the Attorney General working with us in this fight and being our partner. And if I could, if the Attorney General would come up, we at the Board of Directors, and I might say we do not do this very often, and we only do it with just cause. At our meeting, we passed a resolution and wanted to present this plaque to your Attorney General. And it says the National White Collar Crime Center, NW3C, and Board of Directors recognize and commend your leadership nationally in supporting law enforcement and protecting the health, safety, welfare, and economy of the citizens across our country. Your outstanding contributions and dedication is hereby recognized and appreciated by the NW3C Board of Directors. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. I don't have any prepared remarks because I didn't anticipate having to give any. This is indeed a big deal. This is a big time operation, the National White Collar Crime Training Center. You know, when I was assistant AG, I used to go to training that they would provide, and I thought that, you know, they were Department of Justice, and I knew it was a premier organization. But now, you know, that I've been AG, I've learned that actually they're a grant-funded. Department of Justice provides a lot of the funding, but they're made up of people like us and local and state law enforcement, and they know what our needs are, and they provide the best training of any organization in the nation, bar none. And I think it's just it's really humbling to me that Glenn will come down from West Virginia as the chairman of that organization, and Don and Mark and the people that work in that organization. It's second to none. I mean, you see the training that we have here today. It's cutting edge. And, you know, I think they realize this is the second time that they've been to Mississippi. They were here last fall. In fact, I think it was a day after we did the raids. Remember the 28 Hispanic grocery stores that we hit where we seized a lot of counterfeit drugs? It was the day after that. I guess it was in the fall sometime. And they were training on intellectual property theft, and, you know, those counterfeit drugs harm our consumers and our citizens. And I think they realize that in Mississippi we put together a task force, and we'll actually go do something about it. We got some funding. We're the only state in the nation to receive a grant for intellectual property theft enforcement. And we had like 70 law enforcement agencies at our first meeting join that task force, and we've made a difference nationally. So I think that it's a tribute to our state, the things that we have done by doing a lot with the little, and certainly Glenn being from West Virginia understands that southern ingenuity that we some of the time come up with as a matter of necessity. We do a lot with the little, and it's a tribute to our law enforcement in our state. I think I also need to thank our senators of the past. I know West Virginia, Senator Byrd has done a lot for that state, and our senators have done a lot as well, from Senator Stennis and Eastland and Senator Cochran, who has provided, as former chairman of the Senate Appropriations Committee, a lot of money that came to Mississippi to do training at Mississippi State University and at Ole Miss. And our cybercrime unit, a lot of that funding has come through earmarks and different areas. The Department of Justice has really been good to us in our grant funding as well, at many projects that our office has kicked off in the area of cybercrime. So I got to give thanks to all those organizations, but it's indeed humbling. It is an honor for me to receive any award, but particularly one of an organization of this stature, and especially with their chairman, their state auditor of 20 plus years, to take the time to come down here and give us this award. So I certainly appreciate the organization as well as you for recognizing me in our efforts. Thank you.
Thank you.